Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome. This is Drew here. So in today's video, it's going to be a very special video because it's going to be my first collaboration with a few other amazing DIYers. I will link their information in the description below. There will also be a playlist, so don't forget to check them out. Big shout out to David for putting this collab together and for Zulia for doing the artwork. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay guys, so in today's video, I'm going to DIY the famous Minka vase from Anthropologie. I've been wanting one for a while now, but I did not want to pay over $100 for it. So I'm DIYing it. I purchased this beautiful vase at my local thrift store for $6.99. I fell in love with the height and shape. So I'm going to DIY it. FYI, don't forget to add your gloves because this project is going to be a little messy. I pulled up my Minka vase image on my phone so I can reference back to it. Here I'm adding joint compound, in other words mud. I already had this mud from a previous project, so I didn't have to buy any. So I am applying a thin layer. First, wait till it dries to add the second layer. I didn't wait long, maybe like 2-3 minutes. Then I added the second layer, as you can see here. So here I'm adding burlap that I already had from a previous project, but you can use plaid ribbon from like the dollar store and just wrap it around like I'm doing here. Once you wrap it around, I patted the burlap in with the mud. I did mine in sections, but I should have done it in full piece. Here you see me adding burlap around the rim, which I ended up taking it off and adding a bigger piece just to give it a seamless transition. So if you end up doing it in pieces like I did, make sure that all your pieces are seamless. I had a few seams at the bottom that was not that good, but the good thing that the styrofoam balls covered that. Okay, so once all the burlap is in place, I added more mud on top of the burlap, as you see here, just to give it a smoother finish. And once you add all the mud and you make sure all the seams are seamless, allow it to dry for at least 4 to 5 hours, if not overnight. So here I'm just showing you how the vase looks after the mud dries. Looks pretty good to me. I just wish I should have added a little bit more mud at the bottom. But like I said, the styrofoam balls covered that seam. Sorry guys, my phone died for the beginning of the balls installation. But as you can see, it's pretty self-explanatory. So what I did was I got the styrofoam balls and I mixed it in with mud, smoothed them out and let them dry completely. Once they dry completely, I dipped it in mud again and I basically just twisted them on. After that, I would allow them to dry completely again. If you want the process to dry faster, I would use a heat gun. Okay, so here is where I'm adding rope in between the styrofoam balls. This step is very crucial and time consuming, but I feel that this step can either make or break the final look of this vase. So here I'm just adding more styrofoam balls, and this is where I noticed that I was not liking how the rope was coming out when I was just placing them like that. So I ended up grabbing a bristle brush and just adding mud to the rope just to smooth it out, smoothing out the roughness. It made a big difference. I also cleaned up the mud that was dripping underneath the styrofoam balls just to give it a more smoother finish, as you can see me doing here. So at this point, I'm calling it a night. I was not liking the rope part, but I was so tired that I just didn't want to deal with it. So this is the next day and I forgot to add the top row of styrofoam balls. So that's what I'm doing here, just adding the top and bottom row. Okay, so what I ended up doing with the rope, because I was not liking the first technique that I was doing, was I was, how do you say it, unwrapping the rope and adding mud in between. So I was untwisting it, mixing the mud and twisting it back. I hope that makes sense. So I am untwisting the rope, adding mud in between and twisting it back into shape, and then placing them on the vase. So to carefully place them, all you have to do is dab the rope in the mud and just put it on the vase. So here I'm just picking out the rope that looks very bad from the first technique that I did. You will notice me turning the vase around and just choosing which one to take down and which one just to leave there. So here, I don't know if you notice, but there's a big difference now, especially here in this image. You can see how the rope are more smoother compared to, I guess, here. There's a few rough ones, but I just left it there just to give it more character. So here I just ended up getting the brush again and just adding mud on the ones that I didn't like, just to smooth out the lines. So basically what I'm doing is adding mud where the rope and the styrofoam connects, those transitions, just so it can be more smooth. And a few of the styrofoam balls were falling or fell. I don't know why. I must have knocked it down, but it's okay. You just add a little mud. So here I ended up getting the heat gun because I did not want to wait. I ended up cutting the drying process in half, which is always awesome. I'm getting it ready for paint. So these are the colors that I used for my vase. Of course, you can always use the colors that you prefer. So here the paint is a little watery and I made it that way so though, if you can notice up there by the rim dripping down, that's what I want. I want the paint to go in between the crevices that I can't reach. So you keep doing this process until everything is 100% complete. You let it dry and you're done. Let's see the final look.